This is The Clash, where the real world clashes with a true Christian worldview. Join former professional wrestler Chris Whaley, known as the Masked Saint, who is an author, pastor, and teacher that brings his wrestling skills into the squared circle and tackles real-life issues. Along with Jeff Dixon, best-selling author, internationally known teacher, leader, and pastor who is not afraid to tackle the tough issues of the world we live in. Together they form a tag team of wisdom in The Clash.
Hi, welcome to The Clash, where we take a Christian worldview and allow it to clash into the culture around us. And we do that in a variety of ways, but hopefully we entertain and we educate and we get you to think just a little bit bigger about the life that you're living and the world that we live in. I'm Jeff Dixon, but I'm joined by the one, the only, we call him the Saint, and also his wife calls him Chris. It's Chris Whaley, and we are your host for this. Well, this is going to be fun because we're actually talking to somebody who makes their living, if you will, in the world of professional wrestling, talking to wrestlers, kind of like we've done.
Yeah. You know, it's just been so neat over the many episodes that we have done on The Clash. Wrestling has been a big part of that, of course. And I think it's neat today because the guests that we have is all about talking to wrestlers about giving back. Okay. And, you know, you see a lot of, it's professional wrestling, you see a lot of arrogance in professional wrestling.
Sure.
So you wouldn't think there'd be a lot of wrestlers that are giving back to the community, but there are.
Behind the character, there's somebody there with heart, right?
Hey, there's somebody there with heart.
Okay.
And I think folks are really going to enjoy today's episode.
Okay, well, we can't wait to get started with it. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere after this commercial. The interview comes. Chris, I was just thinking while we take a break here in the show.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be nice if you could go somewhere and shop and get high quality merchandise that would have a lasting impact? Wouldn't that be good?
I think that would be absolutely awesome.
Well, I've got a suggestion for you because what is your favorite saying?
Don't tap out.
Look at that. How about a Don't Tap Out
smokes.
t-shirt? And look at the logo on the back.
What's on the back? The Clash.
The Clash. That's one of my favorite shows.
You know, it's on my top list too.
And, you know, people could go and buy this from our store. Now you say, how do you get to the store? Well, right now there's a QR code on the screen. If they use that QR code, they can go and they can buy, name something. We'll see if they can buy it there. What do you want to buy?
Probably, I want to get a long sleeve hoodie.
You know what? You can get a long sleeve hoodie there.
Really?
Yeah, and you know what else? If you had a baby tomorrow, you could get Clash baby gear at that same store. Yep, you can get that. All this available at the Clash store. So if you haven't been to the Clash store, you're one of the few people in America that hasn't been there yet.
Yeah.
And so check it out. Buy our stuff. It makes us money. It makes us happy.
Yeah.
Okay. Go to the Clash store.
Well, we have a great guest today. His name is Stanley Karr. And Stanley is a radio broadcaster. He's an on-air personality podcaster. He is based in Nashville, Tennessee. He hosts a long-running podcast called Wrestling with Heart with Stanley Karr. And it focuses on interviews with professional wrestlers, managers, and personalities from across the industry. Stanley, it is so great to have you on our show, and we thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure. Glad to be here, and I'm looking forward to talking with you both today.
Okay.
That'll be fun.
And by the way, Jeff, I had the honor of being interviewed by Stanley on Wrestling with Heart a couple of weeks ago. That's how all this came about. I was so intrigued with him, I said he would be a great guest on our show. So I'm going to start it off.
Okay, go ahead and start it off.
Stanley, what's the first thing that kind of sparked your passion for professional wrestling, and how did that eventually lead you to start your own podcast?
Well, I've been a fan of professional wrestling since childhood, so going back 25 years ago. So at the age of 4 or 5 years old, I just happened to just see my father watch TV one night. It was Monday Night Raw, the heart of the Attitude Era, and this guy jacked up, sunglasses, Hawaiian shirt, on my screen, on our family television screen, and it was none other than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and the rest is history. So been a fan for so many years, had the chance to go to several WrestleManias, attended a SummerSlam, many live events and independent shows. And I have a radio background, as you mentioned, and doing music shows over the course of my time in radio. Eventually, I got an idea to do a podcast while I was taking a class at a community college that I was working at the time. And so this was the same year I'd attended my first WrestleMania and attended my first SummerSlam. And I was like, you know what? I'd like to try something different. I've been doing a lot of music stuff. Why not do a wrestling podcast? And as an avid wrestling podcast fan, I knew going in that there were so many wrestling podcasts out there. So I said to myself, if I do something on wrestling, I got to pick an angle that has not really been touched on or covered before. And you don't really hear focus on charity work, on volunteering, community service. You mostly hear the negative side of it, right? Like the horror stories, dark side of the ring, the terrible tragedies that the industry has faced over the years. So I was like, this would be kind of a neat idea to focus on something a little lighthearted, topics that not many people have really covered. And yeah, we'll talk about the careers of these athletes, these men and women, but focus in on the human element. And so I started with 7 episodes, and I really got into it. And I was just so passionate about it. I was like, you know what? I want to stick with this. And so here we are now.
Wow. Hey, well, Stanley, go back to your moment when you started falling in love with wrestling as a kid. When you remember seeing The Rock for the first time, did you? After that, was it just about the action as a kid, or when did you start tapping into the storylines they were developing and the storytelling portion of wrestling?
Well, I was always drawn to the characters and the larger-than-life personas. So for me, it was all about promos and segments. Eventually, I started getting into the more athleticism part of it when I started seeing guys like Kurt Angle and Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, guys like that I felt like really were so good at what they were able to do and just put on like these incredible pieces of work, these technical masterpieces. And so I'd say about 8 or 9, I really started gravitating towards that end of it. And here I am now into my 30s, start really like going back and I'm watching these matches. I'm like, holy crap, these are really good matches. Yeah. You could tell like these guys really put a lot of effort and heart into these. And it's like, wow, like I'm glad. I feel like, everybody's got their childhood era where they say they were a fan, they grew up. Some people it's the Attitude Era, some people it's the Golden Era in the 80s, some people even like the Territorial Era of wrestling. Yeah. I feel that the Ruthless Aggression Era was kind of a combination of the stuff I enjoyed about the Attitude Era and some of the stuff that came up later on with the athleticism and the work rate and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like I got the best of both worlds.
Well, hey, Stanley, you've interviewed a wide range of guests, from legends like Harvey Whippleman and Boris Zukov to a lot of independent talents. I wanted to ask you, what has been your most memorable interview so far, and why?
I've had several that I feel like I've had on some really good guests. Ricky Morton was a really good guest. I got to talk to him and talked about his passion for the business and why he fell in love with it, really gravitated towards like the baby faces. And so, talking about how he was able to train and go to the matches in Memphis and start really working and developing a passion for the industry and how he was able to give back and help some of the younger guys out. He was telling me a story on the show where he was helping a guy that had cerebral palsy and brought him into his school, and taught him the ropes, showed him the ropes. And I think I believe he went in to do some acting as well, but he was able to help this young guy out. And I was like, this is so inspirational. Yeah. So he was one. Stevie Ray of Harlem Heat. He was one half of the tag team Harlem Heat with Booker T. He talked to me about his motivational speaking career, getting the chance to talk to kids in public schools in his hometown of Houston, Texas, and really cared so much about helping the youth. Terry Runnels, I had her on the show, talked to her about her career and how she was able to help a family out with that had a young wrestling fan that was really, was kind of on the cusp of dying. He had cancer, but he was able to talk to some of his heroes on the phone. There was a press conference that a lot of the wrestlers were going to. It was like for WrestleMania. And so as like his last wish, I guess you could say, he had the chance to talk to guys like The Rock and Stone Cold and Undertaker and Vince McMahon. And just was like a highlight for him, and she was very instrumental with helping to set that up. So I've been fortunate to have so many people on the show in the 3.5 years that I've done Wrestling with Heart so far, and I hope to continue to grow in the future.
Wow. Well, now at this point, again, as you talk to folks, is there? I mean, and you just kind of talked about some of the folks you've talked to. If I were to ask you, who gets the title, right? Who is the most freely giving person that you've talked to? Who makes the list? I mean, who's that?
Oh man, I've had so many people that I've had on, so it's hard to pick really just one. Okay. I've had the fortune of interviewing Marc Mero twice. He's very, very charitable, and the fact that he's been able to speak to kids in schools, really motivate them, give them good life advice, and really champion, the people that are kind and spreads messages of, anti-bullying and not having depression and really trying to provide positivity to people. So sure. I feel like he's someone that I feel like I could say I really had a really good connection with and conversation with.
Yeah, I probably agree with that. People we've talked to as well. Yeah.
Yeah. We've interviewed Marc, and by the way, I performed his wedding last month in Georgia, and Marc is a great friend, and I agree with everything that you just said.
In the Bible, the church is called the body of Christ. Hopefully, you have a place that you call home when it comes to church, and hopefully you attend there, and hopefully you find a connection with other people. But also, we live in a world where we are connected digitally, and online, you're more than welcome to come visit the church at 434. That's where Chris Whaley and I are part of that staff. The website, touchandchange.net, touchandchange.net. Use the QR code to get there. You'll find all sorts of resources that will help you in your journey of faith. We look forward to seeing you at the church at 434.
I want to ask you, as someone with a background in radio and on-air personality work, including shows, and I was a little blown back by shows like The Piano Men, tell us how your broadcasting experience influenced the way you conduct the interviews on your podcast.
Well, it's all about practice, right? You stand in front of a mirror. You just say kind of like practice your speaking and have like a certain tone of voice that you're using, and kind of coming up with scripts that kind of fit the format of your show with whatever you're doing. And so I've had the opportunity to really think about what I'm going to say, prepare how I'm going to say it, and format my shows. You had mentioned The Piano Men. That was a community radio show that I had done for 10 years. And I also had the good fortune of interviewing several piano players like Jim Brickman, who is a Grammy-nominated artist and has worked with several musicians. John Tesh is another one who I interviewed. He had a book out, and we talked about his memoir and his career with Entertainment Tonight. And So I've had those guys on. I've interviewed several musicians. A guy by the name of Michael O'Mardian, who helped Christopher Cross get his start in the music business, and work with Steely Dan, and had the chance to talk to him. And a guy named David Sanchez, who was one of the early members of Bruce Springsteen's E Street Band. So kind of getting ready for those interviews, I had to really research my guests, right? And come up with questions and formulate questions that the listener would want to hear about, want to know about. So really preparing and practicing and really trying to come up with stuff I feel like helped me with Wrestling with Heart, try to format it. And the more you do it, I feel like the better you get. So it's just about preparation and consistency.
Yeah. And by the way, 2 years ago, Vernon and I were at NRB in Nashville. Mm-hmm. And this guy walked by us, and Verna stopped, and she said, "You know who that was?" And I said, "Obviously not." She said, "That was John Cash." So he walked right by us, and I didn't get to say, "Hey,
blessed
John."
with greatness there.
Yeah. Where's that $5 you owe me? I didn't get to say that. Go ahead.
You're I think you're over 250, 260 episodes of the podcast now. But let's go back to the beginning of that for just a minute. I mean, what were the challenges that you faced when you were getting started, and then how did you get past that, and how did you grow it into finding your audience?
Well, research, just like with everything else, it's research and contacting people and who would want to do it, and really kind of joining different wrestling groups on the internet, like online. So Facebook groups, Instagram, trying to find people that are interested in wrestling, and then connecting with them and having them check out what we're doing. And I feel like from there, it's opened the door to where I've had people reach out to me about wanting to do the show and coming on the show. So it's like now we've got content out. Now people know about us. We've got a big 2026 coming, and onward and upward.
Yeah, that's great.
Right. Well, you've had the chance to speak with wrestlers from different eras, old school, ruthless aggression, the modern independence. How, in your opinion, how has the role of community service and philanthropy in pro wrestling, has it changed over the years, or is it just staying the same?
I think it's always pretty been the same. If you just go back and look at, perfect examples. John Cena, Make-A-Wish. He's like the king of Make-A-Wish. He's been able to grant thousands of wishes to kids. He's like the number one guy that's like been able to do it. So he's someone that's out there, has done a lot of stuff. You hear about the people in WWE and AEW and the other wrestling promotions that are out there doing community service work with the Boys and Girls Club, for example, going to food banks, speaking to kids, doing workshops, and really trying to inspire them to do good in the world. And that's kind of what I wanted to do with my show, is trying to bring that message forward so that I feel like it can help someone else. And I think that's something I wanted to really bring across. It's a different kind of wrestling podcast where you want to feel inspired to do good.
Yeah. Well, so in the world of professional wrestling, and that really is sometimes, I guess that's kind of a niche market for podcasters. I mean, we kind of hit that niche as well. But I mean, you've got other projects that you've got going on too, don't you? I mean, how do you balance everything out? What else are you up to besides that, on the other side of the aisle, if you will?
Well, I've just been doing like radio voice work and just pretty much volunteered in my community as well. That's kind of what I've been able to do. I was just at a food bank recently around the holidays, just helping out distribute food to those who needed it. And so trying to do as much of acts of kindness to really, spread the wealth a bit and try to help those who need it the most. I've had the fortune of doing toy drives and feeding the homeless, and just kind of get involved in different projects that I feel like are very fulfilling, to me and just for my heart.
There's a lot of support from the wrestling community for causes and things like that, but have there been any specific charity fundraisers, initiatives that came directly as a result of your podcast?
Not at the moment, but hopefully over time as we continue to spread the word and get out there more, I'm definitely would love to have the opportunity to do some stuff for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure that opportunity is going to come your way.
so,
I'm
too.
sure it is.
Yes.
I mean, now, again, in fairness, I don't want to tweak your answer to this question because, again, I know that you interviewed the Saint over here, and so, and I'm sure that is got to be a career highlight for you. I mean, it's got to be. I know it is. I mean, because I get to sit next to this guy, so I understand. But if there is one personality, one wrestler out there that you are just jonesing to interview that has not got across the line yet, who is it? And who's it going to be this year?
There's a lot of people I want to interview and have on the show, just ranging from legends to current talent. But I feel like the number one guy that I want to have on Wrestling with Heart, hopefully this year, but if not in the future, just would love to have him on. That would be Mick Foley. I truly believe that guy is just very, very charitable, and seeing the stuff that he's been able to do really make a difference out there. And he's somebody I would love to talk with. And another guy, I'll give you one more too. Diamond Dallas Page. The work he's been able to do with his yoga company, he's been able to help so many wrestlers out, like Jake the Snake Roberts and Scott Hall, and really help turn their life around. It's just so inspiring and motivational. And so he's somebody I feel like I would like to talk with as well.
Sure.
Wow, great. Now, for there's a lot of aspiring podcasters. It's amazing how many podcasts there are today. I mean, would you agree? I don't know how many there are, but
There's too many, a lot of them.
there are a bunch of them. But there's always going to be more. And for those people wanting to combine their passion with a positive message, are there any tips that you could give those people based on your experience of starting up a podcast?
I would say if somebody wishes to start up a podcast, they should find the why. Why do they want to do this? How is it going to stand out from the others? What is it about their podcast that they feel is unique, something that that hasn't been done before, or if it has been done before, put a different spin on it. Make it stand out. You know, try to find something that people haven't really talked about as much, or do it in a way that is completely different from what another person may have done.
Smart, good advice.
Yeah.
Now, so we're going to run out of time here in a minute, but I want to make sure we get this question in. How has Wrestling with Heart changed you? I mean, what has been the personal growth that's happened? Because again, if you're going to host a show like this and you're going to talk about giving back and charity, and you're going to meet personalities that, of course, you know, I know there's sometimes when Chris and I are talking to wrestlers, I geek out because, you know, this is somebody I watched on TV and I can't believe I'm talking to him. And I mean, so all that's a lot of fun. But how does that change and shape you today? How are you different?
I think because I've now, as someone that's now entering in the wrestling business with the podcast and doing some ring announcing here and there for different promotions, I've had the fortune of getting to be, you know, knowing these people on a professional level and getting the chance to get to know them and talk to them, have conversations with them, and knowing them as people. You know, it's different when you like you kind of mentioned earlier, when you watch these people growing up as kids, and then when you're an adult, it's like, wow, you know, it's just like it hits different. You know, it just hits different. So it's like a different level when you're actually sitting and talking to these people. So I feel like it's changed me because I'm now a professional. I'm handling myself as a professional, as a broadcaster, as a podcaster, being able to have these conversations. I feel like it's really, I feel like the more practice I get with talking to them, it just really feels like I feel like I'm more confident every time I do an interview. Yeah. I feel like I start, getting the routine down, and I know what to ask them. The more I research the guests and prepare, and I talk to them, and then I'll see them at a convention or something, and then I'll say, "Hey, remember me? I had you on my show." And the other person would go, "Yeah, yeah, I remember you." And so we just hit it off, and it's like, it's like we're friends.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Now, you told me a couple of weeks ago that you have a book coming out this year, right?
Wow.
Yeah, I'm in the process of releasing my first book, Wrestling with Heart, Champions for a Cause, Volume 1. It's a compilation of some of the interviews that I've had I've done in the last few years since I've started the podcast. I'm targeting the release date, hopefully the spring, if not summer of 2026. And if we do another interview down the road, down the line, I'd be happy to come back on and promote it and talk more about it. I also want to bring up, too, that I'm in the process of getting my show syndicated on the radio, and it's on a few radio stations right now in the United States. I'm on WRFN LP in Nashville, Tennessee. That's our home base area, Radio Free Nashville. I'm on in Burlington, Vermont, on a radio station there, WBTV, and I'm also on Global Community Radio, which is a service that distributes radio programs to different stations. So I'm aiming to get more this year and hopefully beyond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a website that folks can find you at?
Yeah, people can check us out on Facebook. If you punch Wrestling with Heart with Stanley Karr, we're on Facebook. We're on Instagram at Wrestling with Heart. We are on Threads at Wrestling with Heart. We're on Blue Sky at wrestlingwithheart.bsky.social. We're on YouTube. If you punch in Wrestling with Heart with Stanley Karr, we're always looking to get more subscribers. And anywhere where you can find your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, iHeart, check us out there. We got some great content coming out.
Sure.
Do not want to miss out.
Well, I want to sneak one more question because, again, you started as a wrestling fan from a kid on. I did the same thing. All right, so if you're sitting around tonight and all of a sudden you find out you have the opportunity to go to a WWE event, or you find out that there is an independent club, kind of a regional event that's happening down the street with some new and up-and-comers, which one do you go to?
Oh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. But I definitely, I do want to say this. I do think that the future of professional wrestling is with the independents. I think you're going to see a lot of talent rise up and do incredible things. And who knows where they could go from there. They could go with the WWE and AEW, a TNA. But I do think that you'll see a lot more traction on the independents this year. I do think that's the future.
That's cool.
Well, it's been great, Stan. Thank you so much for your time, buddy. God bless you.
No problem. Thank you guys very much.
God bless you. Look forward to talking to you again when the book comes out.
Absolutely.
Okay, sounds good. All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Stanley was great. Wrestling with Heart, great podcast. Make sure you check it out and get ready. His book is on the way. Can't wait to read it and get a copy of that. We'll have him back. Let's have him back.
Yeah. I think it'd be great once that book comes out because I want to read it before we interview him.
Yeah.
That would be great. But I'm just thankful to hear that there's a lot of wrestlers out there with heart, and a lot of wrestlers that are giving back to their communities, and they're giving back to people who need them. And of course, we're fortunate enough to have one of those guys, Marc Mero, on our show. And it has been great. We're starting a new year in 2026, and I believe it's going to be a great year.
I think it's going to be a fantastic year.
I think it's going to be a fantastic year. So I'm just going to say, may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you close to His loving heart. And whatever you do, don't tap out.